How's everybody doing? I want to apologize for taking so long. Um, I've been pretty busy lately, so I haven't had time to really do too much. But today we are going to make a patch, and I call this one the microcosm. Uh, it's just if you've heard a hologram microcosm or any of their other products, you can hear how they get a little bit crazy. We're gonna kind of get that sound a little bit, but I also want it to be playable, and this is gonna be Mike Dean, Travis Scott style vibe. So let's just kind of get started. I have some new additions to the studio, so let me see if I can tilt this a little bit without. If you can see right here, we have Electro Harmonics 8-step sequencer, CV sequencer. I got this on Reverb used, pretty much brand new. The guy hooked me up pretty much. And what I use this for is the sync in. Well, I use it for a couple different things, but one of the main things on the Matriarch I use it for is the sync in on the modulation. So I can now finally get tempo synced modulation. Let's go. It works really great. It takes a little bit of getting used to. It can be a little bit sluggish, but I've played with it on drums and stuff, and it's chopped up on the beat. And I kind of have to give a shout out to my other purchase. I know I'm in debt, so it's just don't be thinking I'm like Billy Bucks over here, because I am not. I bought a multi-clock. I probably should have just got the Metronome. It would have been probably half the price, and I ended up having to use the Metronome plugin in order to get this thing to work properly. Anyways, so if you're on FL Studio and you are looking for an external clock to clock all your gear, just go and get a Metronome. Just be done with it. I heard they run great with FL Studio. They actually have a little section in their manual for FL Studio, so I'm gonna think that they've tested it thoroughly through that DAW. The guys that took over the multi-clock, the original guys sold it to somebody, and they just didn't. They just don't give a fuck, I don't think, because the plugin, you try to drag and drop it in there, and it doesn't make any sound whatsoever. So whatever. I ended up Frankensteining things together and getting it to work, which everything's working now, so that's good. But yeah, let me tilt this back. I also got the software, so hopefully at the beginning of this you could see a image of this patch that we are about to do, and yeah, we're just gonna kind of go from there. Let's make sure everything's properly zeroed out. Am I missing anything? No. Okay, so like I said, this is the microcosm patch. So I've been trying to figure out what I can use these envelope end outs on the filter and envelope for. And all essentially it is a gate that you can kind of mold into different shapes that can be triggered. There's a video by Robe Music. It's online. I suggest you go look at it. It's still super confusing though. But yeah, it's essentially just like a gate. Like if you have it, the attack the whole way down, the decay the whole way down, and the release the whole way down, and the sustain the whole way up, all it is a square LFO. And then as you adjust the attack, you start getting like a little swoop to that square, and the sustain obviously is how high up the square is. It's a little confusing, but it's okay. This patch, once you get it set up, you only got to turn there's like a couple knobs you can just fiddle with to get the exact sound you want. This is just kind of like the broad sense of the sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to take filter, envelope, and out. And we are going to go into... here, let's do it this way. Let's take a long cable. These are light up cables. They're pretty cool, but the signal can get kind of weak on them. The hell was that in there? But they serve their purpose. I got them. My girlfriend got these for me for Christmas. And we're gonna go from the envelope end out into the input of this attenuator, and then we are gonna go from that output into that. So we're going to copy this envelope end out 3 times into this mult, and then we're going to go from this mult the whole way back over to time in 2. So if you don't have a bunch of cables, just go envelope end out straight into time in 2. But in order to really get the full effect, you kind of need this ability. You're gonna need a bunch of cables, so hopefully you got them. Next, we are going to go envelope end out into this attenuator, and put into there. Bada bing, bada boom. And then we are going to go from this attenuator into time in 1. So just as it stands right now with one oscillator going. Oh, let me bring... Oh, my bad. Hold on 1 second. It's nice to have the light because it kind of indicates what it's doing. I should make that other one, but it's just too close. In order to kind of like start to hear the effect, you have to have the mult turned either left or right. So we're just going to try opposite first. Let's do like 25% left, 25% right. We're starting to get that sound a little bit. Let me bring 2 oscillators in so we can... So we're getting a little bit of a glitchy... And it's a cool way to use these envelope end outs. Because like some guys would, I was noticing that they would use the time in with like the LFOs, but I'm like, there's got to be another way. All right, so let's start. I've never heard just the release. Okay, so if you bring the release up, it makes it super short. So we want to leave. I wonder if we bring it the whole way. Yeah, so let's leave the release all the way down. Okay. So if you turn the attenuator completely to the right, you're going to get a lower sound, which what I guess would mean like a slower sound, and to the left, you get those glitchy. So we want some. Okay. Little feedback. Alright, so let's add some filter. We're in low pass mode, and we are going to just bring up some resonance, about equal. Do some. We'll do the envelope amount the opposite way, so the filter's opening up. So as you're holding this down, you get kind of like a normal envelope, I guess you could say, or a normal pulse at the on the delay time, but then as soon as you let it go, it becomes very rapid. I don't know if you can see the light there, but it blinks and then it gets a little crazy. So let's bring up the release a little bit on this envelope. And it doesn't do it anymore. Let me try something here. Let's hit it with the ping pong. Kind of like moves things on the sides a little bit. So I think that sounds pretty cool. So from there, I want to take the envelope end out of like the opposite of these. So this envelope end out is going to trigger this CV in. And then we're going to have this envelope end out trigger this CV in. And then from here, you can adjust these attenuators. You pretty much have to leave your amp envelope how you like want to hear it, obviously. Like, so if you want to pluck or whatever, you can always like come down here. But what this does is this leaves you with, you still haven't used your LFOs. Like, I try to use other things besides my LFOs as much as possible, because it's nice having that tempo synced LFO for things that you want. Let me explain. You probably don't have the Electro Harmonics 8-step. I'm going to do a video with it, probably my next one. But if you ever want to try to get things somewhat tame, take this envelope end out and plug it into the sync in on the modulation. It restarts the LFO, so that you can at least, when you hit the key, it's the start of that LFO is going to be on the 1, and then it will, depending on how good you're good at getting the rate adjusted, if you can get it pretty good, then you can pretty much get a nice tempo sync going. Hold on 1 second. Let me let's bring key tracking up about halfway. And you just use this mix knob to taste. And another thing you can try is the sync in. It would probably have some pretty cool effect. Let me see what it sounds like. Alright, so we have 2 oscillators. Let's bring in a third, and then we are going to modulate from this 4th oscillator onto the 3rd. Let me grab some of these short ones here. So let's go to the wave out, pulse within, turn that to a pulse. Let's turn this octave the whole way down. Yeah, that sounds pretty dope. Alright. Since we have I didn't use any LFOs. Kind of makes me depressed. I know what we can do though. Let's go. I got this other attenuator here. Let's go wave out this attenuator. I don't know if this is going to be long enough. It might not be. Nope, not even close. Let's go into oscillator 2. We'll get some modulation going there. Isn't it working? Should be. Huh, that's weird. Never mind. I thought that would work. I guess not. We need to go to the CVN all the way down there. I only got one. Because I can't use a tip-top cable. Oh well. Alright. So let's go into CVN 2. Let's back up. What we got back here? Let's do. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping that. It's expression. What is that? Hold on. I gotta see what this is. It's keyboard CV. Okay. So I plugged in the keyboard CV into the envelope I'm mounting in. So essentially the envelope's going to I really want to use the mod wheel. I really like that patch. Get that like wah 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 wah. And it's consistent. It's not like it seems like sometimes whenever you are plugging in an LFO into the time in on the stereo delay, it's not consistent enough for me. This way it cycles through the filter and the amplitude, the design that you have on here, and then it stops. It's not always like going. And that way lessen the effect. Just bring the malt towards the center. You'll get like a straighter sound. Or you can get there's so many different tones you can get out of this setup, and I kind of like it better synced. That sounds so cool. So you can kind of like play your part, and then, you know, it'd be nice to have just like an accent or a phrase, and have it like ring out like that. But yeah, I'm gonna draw it up like this so you guys can use it as a patch, and hopefully you were able to at least see how I have it set up and have enough cables and stuff to be able to do this, because you do need quite a bit, and some of them are a little bit redundant. You don't really need it, like this envelope amount, and you don't really need it. It adds to the sound when you can change it a little bit. You know, another thing it'd be cool is route it so that the modulation wheel kind of controls the amount of the delay, so that way you can bring it the whole way out, and then, you know, when you want to, you can just bring that mix in or whatever. So you can just do mod wheel out into mix in on the delay, and then, you know, if you want like that expression, you like, if it's too much, you know what I mean. But yeah, it sounds just like a microcosm. Like, I was just watching videos the other day on it because I've been thinking about getting one, but but yeah, I'll catch you guys. If you guys want more, just let me know. I'll do them. Like, I don't mind doing these. These are actually pretty fun, and it gives me something to do. But I will catch y'all on the flip side, and everybody have a good weekend, and leave a like and a comment if you've made it this far. I'd really appreciate it. All right, peace.